Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. Hope you guys been enjoying the content channel as of late. I do plan on doing a video soon to address all the changes that have been happening to the channel. I just been just wanting to put out all the content. It might just speak for itself, frankly. I don't know, but I will do a video. I promise, just to kind of explain where things have been going. But I went out to the movies today. And I checked out a film. It's been a while since we did a review. I think it's been almost a month. I don't know. It's been a hot minute. But I finally went out to see something, and I decided to check out this film. And now we're gonna talk about it. That film that we're gonna be discussing today is The Roses, which was directed by Jay Roish, who you guys may be familiar with. He has done some films such as the Meet the Parents series, also some of the Austin Powers films. Most recently, he did films such as Trumbo, starring Bryan Cranston, and Bombshell, which was the film starring Nicole Kidman and Charlize Theron. And it was one of those about sexual harassment in the workplace and stuff like that. This is a remake to a film from the late '80s, which was directed by Danny DeVito, and I believe co-starring Danny DeVito as well, and based off of the book "The War of the Roses" by Warren Adler, which was released and published in 1981. This stars Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman, and they are the Roses. They are husband and wife, and they have a very, very particular bond. Their bond is pretty much that of, toxicity, and, they, have a camaraderie that is very, very specifically catered to them. And the film amplifies this through a very apparently so, manner, kind of elevating the kind of self-awareness, the strategical type of manners. And as this relationship blossoms, they now then have two children. They end up having a house. Both of their careers start to take very different paths. In the case of Benedict Cumberbatch, he is an architect. He is someone who likes to really create and imagine things. And in his wife's case, she is a chef, and she loves to cook. She likes to create in her own way as well. And Benedict Cumberbatch's career falls apart in kind of a spectacular way, and his wife is on the rise. And this puts him in a position where he is now at a stay-home dad position, whereas his wife is now the one bringing in all the money and kind of dictating the decisions. And it starts to create tension between the two as their ups and downs sort of occur throughout both of their chosen career paths. And eventually it starts to come to a head as ego, resentment, narcissism, all these things start to rise, and it becomes a petty war, petty fights between two individuals who may need each other in some kind of twisted manner. So I am not familiar with the original film that came out in 1989, and I'm kind of curious to check it out based on what I've seen here, because there are some elements to it that are interesting. Most noteworthy, I would say, is its performances. I think that all the performances, the ensemble, which also co-starring Andy Samberg, Allison Janney, Kate McKinnon. I think they all do fairly good. Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman standing out the most. I think that they're just their dynamic works fairly well for me. I liked how they play off against each other. I think that just on their own they do very good work. And I think a lot of that comes from just the talent themselves. Both of which are capable performers, and it shows in the specific film that they can definitely hold their own and handle what is essentially a pretty dry screenplay, with some apparent points of humor that are enjoyable. But in terms of just the laying out of foundation, it is rather stale. Because what you get with The Roses when you walk into it is pretty much the entire film. It is, as I laid out to you, it is essentially a film about resentment, about ego, about the varying needs and wants from individuals, or how those needs and wants may or may not bring people together or create distance between two people. Those sort of ideas is pretty much all that the film is looking to explore, and there isn't another angle to that. There isn't any things that really spice up the drama or spice up the tension per se, except just within the company of these two performances, which thankfully does create some level of intrigue, but it is apparently so that it is the performances that are kind of in some ways the leading force in your overall interest of the film. Because outside of that, I feel that the screenplay is just not as strong. I feel as though that it is a bit just sticking to its ideas a bit too closely and not necessarily branching out into anything else that would further develop these two characters or further develop just the circumstance in general. And it's also supporting players. They just kind of fall into tropes. You have someone who's incredibly horny. You have one who is in a relationship that they are not so happy in. There's kind of cliches that kind of are just little gimmicks that come about with certain characters, and then with others it is a lot to do with just that thematic study, and it's in many other respects and many other ways that would be a positive, but in this case it just furthers the understanding understanding that this is about and will be just what we already know. It's not going to be anything further than that, and because of that, you get something that is pretty much just the sum of its parts and nothing else, really. Not to say it's not enjoyable, not to say that there isn't any laughs there. It's just to say that it's just, it is what it is. Like that phrase, that it is what it is. That is what the experience of The Roses is. You have that feeling, you can understand what's going on, and pretty much all that it has to offer. There's nothing more to it, and I can't say that I hate it, but I just think that there is room for more growth in terms of a screenplay, in terms of how it navigates the story. I think that there's a little bit more further developments that could have taken place in the shaping of this, but as it stands, I think it just is fine, but I don't think it's anything more than that, if you ask me. I think the performances are what kind of give this film life. Outside of that, it's pretty stale for something that is trying to be witty and kind of like nonsensical or kind of craze and that's in a certain manner. It's weirdly tame and very weirdly stale, And I wish that I didn't feel that way. I wish I was engulfed in that craziness, but I didn't really feel that way. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on The Roses. I think it's okay. Nothing great, but nothing terrible either. It's just pretty mediocre. So, but you guys, what are your thoughts on The Roses? If you guys went to check it out, and if you guys are familiar with the original film from 1989 with Danny DeVito, who apparently directed it, let me know. Was that any good? How does it compare to this? And if you're familiar with the book, which seems to be a better adaptation, let me know. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.